Hey, it's day number 161 in Route 66. So we're moving right along here through the Bible. We're getting close to the end. I always can't wait when I read the book of Job. I can't wait till God starts talking. But today we're going to look at a guy by the name of Elihu. Job's finished talking. His three friends have finished talking. They're had some conversations, didn't find anything. And Elihu, a younger man, is going to come along. So let's see what he has to say in Job 32 to 34. In Job 32, what we have is he begins to speak. He enters a conversation out of respect for the older guys. He is quiet, but he feels compelled to speak. I've got to say something. He's actually angry at Job for trying to justify himself, and he's angry at Job's friends for failing to correctly and wisely answer him. And in verse 33, he claims to speak on God's behalf, urges Job to listen, defends God's justice, suggests for the first time that suffering can be used of God to correct and teach people instead of just for punishment. He reminds Job that God speaks in a lot of different ways, and so you need to be listening for what's going on. And God, has some things that He wants to teach you. In chapter 34, he accuses Job of arrogance. He confronts him for saying that he's innocent. It seems like he thinks that Job is saying that God is unjust, when Job never really said that. He insists that God is always just. And it's funny, they agree, but they're disagreeing. God always repays fairly. He argues that Job has spoken without knowledge and he should humble himself. So there's some lessons that we can learn here in these three chapters of Elihu. Number one, we must be humble when speaking about God's ways. Eli is bold and respectful. He reminds us that even when we speak the truth, we must do so with reverence and humility. He waited a while till he spoke out. God uses suffering to teach us, and that's one thing he taught. Elihu did. He said, you know what? Sometimes God uses the suffering to teach us some very important lessons, and many times God does do that. The third is beware of justifying yourself more than God. Job was trying to vindicate himself, and Elihu rightly warns him to not to defend his own righteousness and diminish God's righteousness. But I think that Elihu is a unique person. He got some things right. He emphasized that God is just. He emphasizes that suffering isn't always due to sin. He didn't accuse Job of any specific sins, but he may have gotten some things wrong. He did speak with a little bit of arrogance when he got there and confidence in his own insight. He said he's speaking on behalf of God, where if he was, God would have shown up later. He still misses the bigger picture that suffering is not a punishment or correction. It's a test. And so he didn't get it all right, but it's okay. He's closer to the truth than the other three friends. But we're going to find out that God has the ultimate truth as we get going through